go north now to the popular Silvercup Raceway just outside Pretoria for some top regional racing from mighty V8s to the small capacity 4-cylinder saloon cars. This action in the Super Saloon Car category is made possible by support from SMD Group of Motor Dealers. All-round champ Mark du Toit joins the category in his Opel Astra V8. There's corner ace, there's Charles Joubert in his Lotus Elise, and believe it or not, a Tata. So Stuart making more world history in a Tata. I mean, there can't be other Tatas in the world. Second time out, and after a very successful debut in this car.
We had a fantastic first event with the car. We obviously won the class on the day, and we've got it on pole for today in Class D, so we're looking good at this point. But it's full of Gossmans once again, so we'll see how it goes.
You always seem to dice it out with the Gossman family.
They've brought a whole bunch of reinforcements. There's another 6 or 7 Golfs there today. It should be a lot of fun, man.
Tough work for Stuart. After official practice for starting grid position, Willie Hepburn leads the way with Charles Joubert amongst all those Opals. Sean O'Connor leads Class B, Kevin Miller Class C, and Stuart McCarty Class D. So Kevin, nice position up the grid, and you're the first one in your class with George Bazano just behind you.
Yes, it makes a change. Got the car going right for a change, and hopefully we can keep it going.
George is a formidable competitor.
Yes, George has been doing it for a long, long time, and hopefully we can stay with him today.
We always call him Gentle George. Well, here's the first look there of the Opel Tigra of Sean O'Connor. He's leading Class B, that black car number 2. There's going to be a 10 lap of 17 cars. They're filling up the circuit, getting ready for the light to go off. And here we go, Willie Hepburn, the blue car on the left-hand side of the record. The little Lotus, black smoke behind it, but boy, does it get away as they all filter through there. There's D30 is Josh Broom. We normally see him in a Ford Escort. Here he is in another make of motorcars. They're going to the first hairpin. It's George Bazano. On the outside is Stuart McCarty, and going very well there in the Tata, Stuart.
Having a superb first lap, and the car got going and had a nice handling in the hairpin.
And at least is not giving away anything to that V8. He's trying to get Willie on the outside. They squeeze him out, and so does Cornace. Has got him boxed in as they go up the hill to the first corner. It's a blind rise into the first corner. It's V8s 1 and 2. Willie Hepburn just powering on, both getting it sideways. And that Lotus Elise of Charles Joubert is right in there. And look at them just painting black lines, these 3 cars in the front.
It was Charles' first outing with us, and it was exciting to see that car there for a change.
And this is the big roar of those V8s. You can hear them all over the circuit. Willie comes through in the end of lap 1. Got quarter ace right on his tail. That record, Willie's raced for a long, long time. It's so sorted out. There's the Elise, and here comes Sean O'Connor now. He's coming down the road looking very good in that motor car. What motor's he got in there, Stuart?
That's Sean with his 13B. You'll know that car is the Sport. It used to be the Sport, and it's now an Opel Tigra.
Yeah, and it's got a Mazda motor.
That's it. It's got a Mazda motor.
Right, and here's somebody else back from the past, Herbie Denton. He's in an Opel Astra. We used to see him in Ford Escorts before. And your car is looking very nice. As we say, must be the first time in the world they've actually raced a Tata in circuit events like this.
I believe so. I don't think anybody else has had a go at it yet, although I have heard that Tata themselves built a double-engine car.
Well, there you go. Right here they come down towards us now. The Gossmans on your tail. As always, as you say, the Gossmans gang up against you. 10 of closest in the Gunson-coloured BMW. Looking very nice indeed. Nicely turned out car.
It was nice to see that car back because he launched the motor at Midval, and it cost a fortune to get the car back on the circuit.
Right, he comes from Funabelt, so that's Midval's basically his home track. The Tata, I must say, looks very nice. You can hear the Scort go, the Sean O'Connor car going. Here's Gossman now, hurrying to catch up. If that's your nemesis, here's his son, Greg Gossman. He's right on your tail. Ralph Kearns in the Clio comes next. Oh, we got Herbie Denton's got problems there.
Unfortunately, Herbie had an oil leak coming off of the oil pump, and it was to put him out for the day.
Oh, that's bad luck, that. Right, so it's very nicely turned out car, that Opel Astras. Here they come. Right, it's the Tata, and then it's Rolandi, and here comes Tennis Coast, and Gossman's lost a little bit of ground there to Tennis Coast.
Not too sure what happened to Andy there, because he was on my tail and then suddenly he was a good few cars back, so I'm honestly not too sure what happened.
And you're quite glad about that too, I should imagine, because wherever you look in your mirror there's a blue Golf behind you, or sometimes in front of you too.
It's generally next to me, either going past or coming past.
Right, Willie gets it sideways. He's starting to open up a bit of a gap there. He's got about a 3-second gap over corner. Oh man, just black rubber all over the road. Goodyear rubber all over Silvercup race. Those guys are really seeing this. And they're doing times minute and 4, just in the low 4s, which is very good times in these V8 motor cars.
And Cornet is just getting better and better with that car. He's honestly starting to make a difference now.
And here you are leading your class. And you won your overall last meeting here, and here you are out in the front again.
Yes, I did win overall at the last one and leading the class at this stage.
Now, Grossman needs a few adjustments to catch up to Coast. As Coast goes through, they're using all the rope. Then they turn left and head down the hill. Here's another battle going on now. This is George Bezadno in his C-class car. He looks basically on his own at the moment. There you come through there, Stewart in the Tata. Rolandi comes through. Then there's Tennis Hurt. And Grossman is losing a bit of ground there.
Yeah, I think Andy was getting caught up in the faster cars in the back section, just slowing him down when he needed to use his handling.
Right, this is for sixth overall. Here they come now, neck and neck stuff. Coasters ahead of Rolandi now. And I must say Rolandi, Dino Rolandi, is in virtually every meeting, no fuss, got a new colour scheme, new sponsors, Midas, and he's always in the picture and races in other classes as well.
There's a chap that just enjoys his motorsport. He
does.
Never moans and groans about what class he might be in or who's the opposition. He just wants to play with his car.
And two rear-wheel drive cars, getting it sideways. That's what the crowd love to see, as those Skylines always used to do. And using all this road, they certainly know their way around the Swartkorp Raceway. Right, we've got just in this race, we've got a lap and a half to do. George Bezadno there. I must say you're doing very well there, Stuart. You're lying there in fifth spot.
Yeah, we're lying in fifth spot, and I thought at one stage that I was going to be able to catch George, but the horsepower on that car just kept going away uphill.
But you get him on the corners. I must say your car turns very tightly.
Can stay with him on handling, but certainly not in speed.
And what do you reckon makes the difference there? Shock, slow down, weight what?
Yeah, being the type of car, being an Ashley chassis, it obviously just handles so well.
Does it? Well, he goes up, just idling up the hill there with that big V8 motor. He knows V8. 65 years old. Willie's been 47 years in racing. Says he's going to give up national racing this year. Cornet is trying. He's not giving up to the end, that's for sure.
Yeah, I actually saw Cornet going sideways and I wondered if I was getting in his way, but it was just a little bit further back.
That's the way he drives. And George is just ahead of Willie. Willie's coming for the flag. Now he's got a lap or two to go as we go on board with George. And you can just see the difference between a C-class car and an A-class car, Willie Hippen, which handles as well.
But you should see George close up on him at that point.
He does too. What's the difference with the classes though? Is it just a power class, a time class?
No, it's the size of the motor, engine capacity to the weight to the wheel size. That's how we work out our class.
Well, George car looks very nice today without panel beating all over it as the Elise comes through. Where the Lotus Elise with Charles Joubert. There's Greg Gossman. Here's Ralph Kearns, also another enthusiast. And as you know, we've said this a couple of times, those French cars should be in there racing.
Without any doubt, one of the best looking cars, and he is bringing the other one back. He's got someone working with the Clio and it's coming back again, so we will have two of them.
Now we need the Peugeots, we need the Citroens and the Renaults. Here's Willie now. Getting it sideways, got himself a 7-second lead. There's the second man, Cornet. He loves it. Lovely to drive a car like it.
Cornet using an exceptionally wide line at that point.
You're kidding. Doing a bit of mowing on the outside. Kenny De Beers got the flag, gives you a nice welcome with those checkers. There's Willie comes through, wins yet another race. Almost unbeatable in this class race. Cornet 7 a bit seconds behind him in the Chev Corvette. A very nice looking motor car, easy to find on the circuit. So results there, Class A went to Willie Hepburn, Class B to Rolandi, Class C to George Bezadno, and Class D to you, Stuart, in the Tata. Well, a very nice third there, Charles. This car goes like a rocket, right?
Thank you very much, It's the first time out, so I'm very happy with the third place,
It's a nice compact little car too. It seems to go around corners like a cart.
Yeah, the handling is quite good. We can do a bit better in the handling, and it's got a lot of turbo lag at the moment, and we need to sort that out.
What motor you got in here?
It's a H22 VTEC motor, turbo charge.
Have you turboed it afterward?
It's actually the wrong turbo. This is the turbo from my quarter mile car. So it's actually a big turbo for quarter miles. So we changed the gearbox as well last Wednesday on practice, and we've put a long ratio box in, so the turbo lag is too much now around the corners.
So we're going to hear a lot more of that motor car. Time for race 2. It's a wet circuit now. Big thunderstorm came up this afternoon, wet the circuit. Not everybody wants to race on wet track. And the field is actually reduced. We've got 10 cars left, 7 are gone.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate one with it. Yeah, our class generally is on slicks, and a lot of guys just didn't have wet weather tyres. It was one of those unfortunates for the
and
day.
you can't really race on slicks, but you need wet weather tyres with the tread. We've got Kevin Miller back. He comes down the centre of the road in that Nissan. He's just behind George Bezadno. And here they are, Stuart coming through. and looking like you have actually lost it as you go to the side.
Exactly as I put my foot down, the car stepped sideways, and I had a moment, without any doubt, a moment of belief. Boy.
And this is where you need a windscreen wiper as well. Ghastly around that hairpin. Right, you start to open up now. You can hear the mic is taking strain of the revs that Kevin Miller's giving this car to be on board with him now. George Edu. George, of course, in the Primera. It's an Elmira, or Centra, I think, that he's got behind George. Then the Gossman is ahead of you, Stuart.
Yes, with the tyres and obviously Andy having front-wheel drive, he definitely had the advantage. And I just wasn't able to use my advantage, which was the handling.
Would you reckon the front-wheel drive is better than the rear?
Absolutely. At this point, Andy definitely had the advantage because he also got horsepower up the hill. So consequently, I had to just sort of pace him. I knew the gap that I'd had from heat one. Sean came up on the inside and they went farming.
Which you're quite glad about. Well, I noticed that it's a real blind corner. You've got to select your spot, especially when it's wet. You've got to change your brake marks, really.
There was a single line. You had to stay on that line. When you got off it onto the wet, boy, you knew all about it.
George has got problems here in that McCarthy isn't on his tail. Kevin Miller's and us sorted out motorcar. You won't board with him again. He's giving away nothing to George. Little touch of the brakes carefully around the wet weather here. You don't go to the outfield there, because you'll stay out there for most of the afternoon. It's very slippery on that grass. Right, accelerate towards the hairpin. Here they come now, and Andy Gossman is actually starting to open them, you Stuart, as you say. Just pure handling on the wet.
Absolutely. All of those cars there are front-wheel drive, and it's just so nice to see Kevin holding on to George like that. A superb one.
And your concentration when you drive in the wet, it's intense.
Intense. You're holding on the whole time.
Absolutely. Right, Gossman's the City Golf in the distance there. As they go through, George is hanging on to his lead, but Kevin Miller now getting into this race, he just brought this car out, he's starting to get to George, and he's working out a way, seeing where he brakes, where he turns in, and to see if he can work out a plan. Here he comes wide here through here, clips the curb, goes to the outside, easy to lose it here in this wet road.
This was the corner that was the worst. It was wet, and there was a funny little line, but most of us wanted to get to the outside of it, and there just was no handling there.
Here they come now. He's going to look for a spot. He's going to put his nose in there. Crossman's getting away even further. Behind you, you've got another car creeping up.
In fact, it's Sean O'Connor. Sean and I were having quite a good time.
Sean battling with his too. I mean, there must be a handful that Mazda engine.
Absolutely. It's exactly the same as my car. It's a back-wheel drive car, and he's on slicks as well. So he's got a hard time there, and a lot more horsepower than what I've got. So, his place was worse.
Sticking to the dry line as they come through. Gossman's actually starting to make hay. He's closing up. Here comes Sean O'Connor. Stuart McCarty talking to us now is right on his tail. Then Ralph Kearns. So the rain changes everything, really. So a lot of it's just survival, really.
Absolutely. Now, the interesting thing is, as we got a line, so the quicker cars started to catch up. I mean, at one stage, Andy was well ahead of us, but we actually got fairly close back to him by about lap 5 or 6.
There's you revving this motor of yours, that's for sure. Right, all the way to the 100 metres goes, and on 50, off for the accelerator, dab the brake, go to the inside, stay in the dry line. Ooh, we just keep off it there now, concentrating all the way. Right, here's, Kevin Miller staying right there with George. He hasn't found a way through now. This is the battle going on for Class C. George leads the championship. So Kevin Miller would like to take a few points away from him. That's a Primera in the front, and it's Elmira, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's a Centra. Kevin's Centra. Now, Kevin's definitely having his best outing for a long, long time.
Oh, so maybe he'll pray for rain every time. Here they come now, boy. George is looking, he's just hoping that car would vanish, but there it is, filling his rear windscreen. Here comes Andy Gossman, and Sean O'Connor getting closer to him with the Mazda motor. Very nicely turned out motor car. Yours is too, the Tata. Here's Ralph Kearns coming along. Here's Greg Gossman not getting to her, and Dina Rolandi won his class in the first race.
Yeah, I think Sean O'Connor and Ralph Kearns certainly compete for the neatest cars of the day.
Well, he's got to do it sometime. He's starting to put the pressure on, there's no doubt. Kevin Miller's in the centre behind. There it is now. Nicely turned. Nice clean motor car. And just had an electrical problem. The thing wouldn't start for the first race. It was most disappointing first time out for him. Now, is he going to get him on the brakes? He goes up the hill. We won't see that for a moment. As Willie comes through now, he's got a lap and a half to do. Willie comes, he's just, I don't think, actually short-changing too. He's just short-shifting. I don't think he's taking that car over 5.
Absolutely. I think that Willie was so glad to see a wet circuit for a change. He's had those wet weather tyres in the pits for about 4 years.
That must be pretty hard as well. But did you have a look at that little lease was closing up? Charles Jabir, that car thrives on the wet race. Probably got the right tyres on too. As Sean O'Connor closes up now, does he get past on the inside? He's got to be careful of that wet pad. Here is George. Now they've kept him behind them. Very carefully. You don't want to spin off here. That grass will have you spinning right into the tyre wall.
Sean can see his moment coming. There's no doubt about that.
No, he does. He's just got to wait for it. Maybe on power as he comes out the corner.
He saw it step out there as well. The minute he put his foot down, the car stepped out.
That centre has got him. The centre came out there, slung-shotted along. He came on the inside. Here comes O'Connor to ruin the party a wee bit. George is getting a toe from him. No, he doesn't. Kevin Miller holds on. And he's moved up a spot. He's now moved into fourth spot.
Kevin managed to slot in there so cleanly. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, so we've got a new leader in that class. Here you can see the blind riser go up to the corner on 50. It should be hard on the brakes up there, 50 metres from the corner.
I would imagine that is the first time somebody has led George in that class in possibly the last 4 years.
And about only for 300 metres though. And that's George's favourite car.
Absolutely. George knows all about it there. George's car control is beyond belief.
Yeah, and here he comes down the road. Has Miller got an answer to him? Sean O'Connor is lying in third spot. Behind him is George, Kevin Miller, Andy Gossman, then is Stuart McLeod. He's talking to us now. Here they come down the road. There's the revs. Look at the flames out the side. Miller's working out another plan. Here he comes here. The Sentra.
Sean has asked us to please call the car an Opel Tigra now.
Right, it's an Opel Tigra. Goes round one. This is the slingshotting, but if he gets a good run in, he can go on his inside. He's got done him again. Here he touched George there, and he's going on the inside. He's doing the same thing again. George didn't protect his line. George Bezaidnut, here they come. Flat out, he's on the inside curve. He's got the better line through. Here's he giving him room. He's giving him room, so it means he's on his left-hand side as they get onto the brake mark for the right-hand sweep. There's George back again.
George wouldn't know how to back off.
No, he doesn't. There he goes round the outside. Well, Kevin, if you're going to do it, here's your last chance coming up, but this is George's favourite corner. And in the background, the leader comes down, and Willie Hepburn's got that Elise, the Lotus Elise of Charles Jabir's closed up. Willie's certainly been short-shifting. The flag is waiting for them. Here comes Greg Gosman on his toe. Willie Hepburn, no, the Elise comes past him, and Willie was boxed in there behind the Golf, and Charles Jabir in the Elise is taking his first win. First time out in the car. How's that for a result there?
Does Willie get caught out on that?
Wow, man. So Willie, Charles Jabir, in fact, takes Class A. Sean O'Connor, Class B. We saw him, George Bezaidnut beats Miller to the line, and Gossman won Class D in the Golf. So Willie, the second win was coming up, and then you seemed to fade near the end. What happened there?
No, Roger, I fell asleep. I wasn't watching my rearview mirror, and he was so far behind me that I didn't worry about it. In the last lap, there was a slow Golf, and I thought I'll slow down and let him take the flag in front of me. And I just stayed behind him, and what name shot up and got me from behind.
Joel, you couldn't believe your luck there.
Yeah, no, we were very lucky. We went out on the full slicks, and the last couple of laps, the traction were getting better and better. And I think the last lap I was catching really before the last corner, and he was behind the Golf, and I went into the inside line. So yeah, we were very lucky actually. Yeah.
In Class C, George Bezaidnut and Kevin Miller had a good battle as well. So good racer, George, a lot more competition this time.
Yes, yeah, Kevin was right over me, he passed me twice, but it was a good race, a very good race.
Where did he get you?
Both in the slow corner. I had a bit of traction problems there, and he got past.
No, that's much better. You didn't start the first race, Kevin.
The coil packed up. Yeah, just we must have left it on for too long and coil packed up, so we didn't get going. But we changed the coil, got a gain for the second heat. So thanks to my mechanics, and we got a gain.
You tried very hard on that last lap, last corner there.
We tried. I thought we had a chance, but Sean got in between us a little bit and buggered up the race.
How's this for a close championship after 3 rounds? 94 points for George Bezaidnut, 3 different classes, the top 3, and look from 5th down how close it all is. This Super Saloon car racing was courtesy of the support of the SMD group of motor dealers.
May is the month of finals on Supersport. It's a David versus Goliath scenario as Portsmouth take on Championship Team Cardiff. Then the Kings of European Club Football will be crowned in Moscow. And the Super 14 campaign climaxes with a final on May 31st. This May, FA Cup, UEFA Champions League and Verticom Super 14 final. Plus Formula 1, IPL Cricket and Roland Garros. In June, Europe's top footballing nations gather in Austria and Switzerland for Euro 2008. The rugby focus is back home for the start of the Absa Currie Cup, and it's off to the grass courts of Wimbledon on the 23rd. In June, Euro 2008, Absa Currie Cup and Wimbledon. In July, the big wheels start turning in the Tour de France on the 5th. The Proteas hope they can continue to bloom on the Tour of England. And it's off to Royal Birkdale for the Open Championship, starting on the 17th. In July, Tour de France, England versus South Africa and the Open Championship. Supersport's action attractions.
The smash hit show Big Brother Africa is back and the search is on for 12 new housemates from 12 African countries. Have you got what it takes to go the full 91 days in the all-new Big Brother house? Up for grabs, $100,000 and the Big Brother Africa crown. Get your entry form now from your nearest multi-choice office or agency or log on to www.mnetafrica.com and enter online. Big Brother wants you. Enter now.
In 2007, one figure stood out ahead of the rest. Congratulations to Jacques Callis, Wisden's Cricketer of the Year for 2007.
These names say it all. Petrol.
That is a special goal.
Zarate.
To go! And wins the game.
Aston Villa versus Birmingham City. Faye.
Fine, missed it. Faye scores though.
Whitehead.
1-0 Sunderland.
Newcastle United versus Sunderland. Vassell.
It could well be a winning goal.
James.
Oh, fine save! Oh, and how?
Manchester City versus Portsmouth. Only the biggest names in the game light up this one. The English Premier League, live on Supersport and brought to you by Discovery, a team worth supporting.
An afternoon thunderstorm threatens Swartkorps as 36 cars get onto the track for their first China-sponsored Silvercup Championship race of the day. And China, the Chinese manufacturer, is the sponsor of the Silvercup series and also assists with all the coverage. And the Chinas are out in force, all 5 of them to be raced by their dealers. All the cars very well turned out, including Trevor Smith and his V6 Jacaranda panel beater Chef Forenza. And you get all shapes and sizes of various states of tune raced in the series. Well, after qualifying, it was Trevor Smith. He leads the pack. George Economides, Class B from normal leader Brendan Hall. Steve Barnett always leads Class C. And at D is Renus Corpinus Toyota. And the first China is Con Barnard. Well, in a very nicely prepared V6 Forenza, pretty unusual V6, is Trevor Smith on pole once again.
We had a bit of problems last week, electrical, but sorted out, so we're on pole and looks like it's going good.
Now, have you checked over every single connection and wire you've got in the car?
Every wire that's on this car is put on properly, man.
Trevor, what's the history of this car? You built it up yourself?
No, it actually comes from Kundrat Bosman. He's the owner, was the owner and built it, but it comes many years in racing in the Forenza. Yeah, it's had a supercharger on already, and that's a lot of history in this car.
Oh, but it's nicely prepared, I must say, well done.
Thank you.
China Motors boss man in South Africa is Karl-Heinz Koop.
I think for being the first Chinese vehicles to be involved in racing in South Africa, we've done very well. We've proven the reliability, the durability, and we've proven to the people that we're here to stay and that we're going to be here for the people.
And you're doing good numbers every month and have got a fair number of dealers around the country.
Yes, Roger, we are over 60 dealers now in the country. We've just launched the Benny. Our sales are going up and up. We've got more products coming, so yes, it's very exciting.
And what do the Chinese back in China say about the successes you're having?
Yeah, they were out here when we were at Duratec, and they were amazed to see what we've done with their vehicles. They enjoy it, they're supporting us, they're sending people now to South Africa to come and work here to even give us better support. So yes, they know that South Africa is a footstep for Africa for their products.
As we pick up the action, it is Trevor Smith in the front, the right-hand car, the Chevy, and alongside him, Jimmy Tamage in a Fiesta. And with me is Neil Barnett. He's the chairman of the Silvercup Association. Boy, have you got a nice record field here, Neil?
Yeah, it's a massive field. Cars all beautifully turned out. And should be really interesting racing for today.
Now, also in this racing, you race in what classes A, B, C, and D. And what's the difference between the classes, Neil?
It's purely capacity. Class D is up to 1400cc. Class C goes up to 1700. Class B up to 2.2, and Class A is open, including all rotaries, turbos, etc.
And tyre sizes?
tyre sizes we restricted to a maximum of a 205/15.
Yeah, which makes it exciting as we see Trevor Smith come sideways, gets all that power down that V6 Forenza. Tamage is next. There's a car that's starting to go now. Brendan Hall, little CRX Honda. Behind him he's got Justin Gordon, and Steve Barnard, your son, is right in there as well. Boy, late on the brakes, so they come down to this left-hander. That little Honda stays right there with, and of course that is a Fiesta. Somewhere in there is a Fiesta. And here he comes now, Dan Engelbrecht, taking two cars in together. They clobber each other. He goes into Colin Smith. He goes into the field. Bits and pieces come off the motor car, but he's still keeping going. He'll be back in this race. On board with Dirk Lawrence. Ahead is Colin Smith. Some two very capable motor cars. It's a Golf, as always a Golf, in amongst the Toyotas and also the Hondas. Very competitive field. Right into the hairpin go, you can see many Hondas here. They came from National Production Racing. They used to have a class of their own, and they are so well driven and prepared in this form of racing. Left-hand side coming up there at Jannie van Rooyen. Coming up in who, Neil?
He's coming up on Gary Gordon on the inside in the Honda.
Right, and he's going through, takes the tighter line there, does Jannie van Rooyen. And there's Jan Tadej. He's in a, you haven't often seen it, an Opel Astra actually, and giving a very good account of himself. Here it is in the middle of the pack. It's like a sandwich between the Golf of Van Rooyen. He's got to give way there, and Jan Tadej doesn't give any room at all, so Van Rooyen goes back. And then we've got, what is that car just behind him?
Joe D'Souza in the Sirocco space frame car.
And the Siroccos have always done well in South African motor racing. Not too many sold in this country, as I always say. Go on board with Dirk Lawrence. Here's the first of the Chinas. It's 109 is Con Barnard. He's the one that normally does the winning. Is he related to you?
No, not at all. No, not
and that China's looking a little less standard than before. Some of the others, you can see the wheels sticking out each side of the body.
They've dropped the suspension about 140 millimeters.
Oh, it's made a difference. And they've got roll cages and racing seats and out to coming down the road. 711 is Andries Kruger. He comes from the Discovery China dealer. 106 is Dirk Dudley from Pretoria. We've got Bulin Exley's from that's the last one coming through now from China, South Joburg. So these dealers are certainly getting in and enjoying their racing. First time they've done it, most of them, I think, huh?
Yes, yeah, it's the second time out. They're still running with the bunting at the back.
Yeah, the bunting tells you those are beginners. So if you're coming up and you're experienced drivers, you know who the beginners are. Right, it's Jannie van Rooyen right in amongst them now. There's Jacques Jenjetich, and giving a very good account of himself, I must say, in that Astra.
He's really got that Opel going well. And he's
right, heavy onto the brakes. He gives away to nobody. Keeps his lines. He comes through. He's behind Jannie van Rooyen there. No, he's got to get away there as the Joe D'Souza comes through. And it's nice racing like this, Neil. I mean, it's just cars everywhere you go. You're passing, repassing, trying your luck. It's terrific stuff.
Traffic all the time.
It is. It's traffic from start. I mean, starting with 36 cars, I have seen a few more. But, I mean, it is fantastic stuff to see. Right, and then Brendan Hall comes through. He's ahead of this Justin Gordon, and there's Colin Smith in the little Golf. That's the order at the moment. Steve Barnard, he leads his class. No, he's not. He's second to Colin Smith. Whoops, what's happened there?
No, Colin has got his car sorted now.
Yes, and that's your son in the little Toyota. Has done very, very well. Won the championship as well. Here's another dice going on. Boy, is this a big battle, and you're involved in it too. Renus Plonk takes out Bloomer there, and you're right, watching that whole scene. What did you think when you saw that lot?
I think they just had a good lean on each other.
A good lean is a good expression to what happened to. Anyway, here's your chances now to catch up. That little Daihatsu Syrian does go.
It's really, really quick, and he's done a lot of work on it and got it going nicely.
Right, there's the Chinas once again. 109 comes through, and that's Con Barnard. He's going well, not disgracing himself at all with other motor cars in the field. You can see it's getting a lot lower. He's got China at the bottom of the windscreen. He's got a little windscreen to look out of there, and going very well. And they rev it hard too. Right, and here's more of them coming down the road. Here we got, as the leader comes through, Trevor Smith comes through. We've got a whole mob of them coming down the road. China's 1, 2, 3, all trying to sort themselves out. There's Trevor Smith on the road. Jimmy Tamage in a yellow car, the Fiesta, not too far behind him actually.
No, he's getting very close to Trevor.
711, Andries Kruger. Then you've got 105 is Bulin Exley. And they're all getting good experience in this form of racing. Not doing too bad. They're doing 1 minute 27s round here.
Yeah, Con Barnard actually took 5.5 seconds off his time.
5.5 seconds. There's some going around Swartkops, you know. You don't get much chance to do it here because they've got a lot of tight corners too. There's another little Fiesta coming through. Right, and the green one is Freek Blucknote. That's a Datsun. And Stuart McCarthy there in the Audi TT is right in there with him, and number 8. And we told you he'd be back. He's back. Bits and pieces of his car missing from the front bumper. Also a newcomer to this. And that's the man who started off there and went off the road as he went into Colin Smith. So that was Engelbrecht. Right, we're getting towards the end of this race. Jannie van Rooyen comes down the road, then it's Dirk Lawrence, and then we've got Janjetic right there with that Astra, staying up with those very sorted out Hondas. They come through, not far to go. There's the Freek Blicknote Datsun there, Stuart McCarthy, very nice looking car, that Audi TT. And there's another car there, A87, it's got Dino. And what motor's that got there?
That's got a rotary motor.
There you go,
It's
look at
actually
that.
built by Jan Hittema originally.
Wonderful stuff, and he raced it too.
He raced it with us, yes.
Ah, a good car, and Jan Hittema could make cars handle. Right here, look at them coming down the road towards us now. Those Chinas are just tied together. 711 is Andries Kruger. 105 just behind him is Buren Exley. Ahead of them is Andries Kruger. There's Hugh Morgan. He's in the picture as well. And there's the CRX. That's lying in third position now, that little Honda. Going up the hill on the right-hand side, that's Brendan Hall. Here comes the leader coming down to the flag. And that's a very nice drive there. Trevor Smith went into the lead at the beginning. Henny De Beers got the checkers. He goes for a little Conquest has a moment out there. Look at Class D, 3 across the road. We've got Neil Bonnet, that red Conquest left-hand side. Then it is the Syrian coming through a bloomer. And then we had Renus Plonk. So Class A was won by Trevor Smith, B to Brendan Hall in that Honda. Colin Smith took Class C in his Golf, and Neil Bonnet, you won Class D. So Neil, another win under the belt there, and I see now you've got Toyota on the car. This car has done a lot of racing.
I think the car and myself have both done a lot of racing, and we deserve the title.
How long have you actually raced the car for?
The car has been with Toyota. Well, it started life with Toyota Motorsport 22 years ago, and that's where it's going. I've had it about 12.
Almost looks brand new with just one owner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little old man's car for sale, driven weekends only.
Second race for the China Silvercup cars. It's 45 cars on the track again. Well done there, Neil. It's wet, so they're going to have yellow flags for the first 2 corners, and then racing starts after the hairpin. So Neil, you just got to really just sort yourself out to get to the second corner.
Hold your grid position, and after the second corner, the race starts.
Right, and they're all ready to go in this 4 classes racing, as Neil says, capacity and also tyre sizes. What's the biggest tyre on this front car, that Firenze, about a 205?
205/50.
So that makes it exciting with all that power going down the road. Eh?
It's a lot of power getting onto it.
B17 is Freek Blicknote, and that green, that's an easy pickup, so we're racing. Right, and it is Trevor Smith once again, and Tamich has got competition. Brendan Hall on the left-hand side, the Honda's not giving away. Justin Gordon comes through, and there's Steve Barnard right in there as well. Dirk Lawrence is the blue Honda at the back of this little pack going up the hill at that blind drive, and then they get on the on the brake marks there. It's dry roads at the moment. The Chinas come through with Dino Rolandi right in the pack. He'll want to get away from them, that's for sure. He'll get tired of seeing those in his mirrors.
Starting at the back of the grid, I think he wants to get past as fast as possible.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of cars to pass. I mean, 45 cars to pass. You've got to go some if you're going to get any sort of result in your class. Right, here's the leader coming down. Trevor Smith comes down with Jimmy Tamich in the Fiesta on the inside. Here's Brendan Hall coming through, and he moves into third spot where he was. Justin Gordon, another Honda, it's a little Civic. Listen to the sound of that motor, it's beautiful. Oh, that V6 engine just sounds too much. Right, there's Justin, and there's Colin Smith is in there as well, Dirk Lawrence. And here comes the other Corrado, Joe D'Souza. Lovely to see all these different cars. The guys put a lot of work in. Freek Blicknote is going a lot better in that green Datsun than he went in the first race. And there, Neil, I saw little Syrian ahead of Class D.
Yes, they both passed me. Syrian was leading and Renus was second.
What is the story?
Maybe old age.
No, maybe. You're the champ. Right, here they come, and look, they just spread out for this corner. Not a good line on the inside, a little bit wet as others sweep across your bows. And those Conquests have given great service. I know you drive one as 2 Neil, but they really have been good in racing.
They really have. This one's running turbocharged as well.
And is it going? Look, it pulls out to pass him. Nochal, as they go into the brake marks. Trevor Smith in the front. Here's Brendan Hall going, but he's past Jimmy Tamich. Tamich losing a little bit of ground. Justin Gordon, yeah, coming down to that Colin Smith in 4th spot. They are going at some speed around the circuit. I mean, they're lapping here at 12s, eh?
Yes,
they're
really quick and small tyres.
Right, 109 comes through. That's Con Barnett. He's got the The lowered one, as Neil tells us, he goes down, he's no relative of Neil. But they're all staying together and enjoying themselves. They've got racing seats in those cars, they've got roll cage, you can see. They have been rallying in these China buckies, they've been racing them, and they've had a wonderful time, and also showing the reliability of these little Chinese buckies.
Absolutely amazing, the reliability that they have.
I see Aidan Engelbrecht is going a little bit slow in those wet roads. It's his first time out.
It's his first time out, so
yeah, you've got to be careful. You never know what limit you've got on that thing. There you are now. Here's Class D. That's Jan Jatich. No, it's not. It's Robert Leach and his little Opel there. Don't see too many Opels racing these days. And your car's going up. You're looking very good there, Neil. I must say, never misses a beat. And we've got problems on the outside there.
It's Brom Miller in the A-Class turbocharged Conquest.
Well, they're pushing these cars to the limit too. Not too many retirements, I must say. Preparation is very, very good. As they come down the hill, they're all still going flat out down here. Right, here's the Class D battle. We've got Greg Bloomer in the Daihatsu Sirion, and Renus Plomp is right on his tail, a little Conquest. And you're not too far behind him either, Neil.
Wasn't too far behind.
Right, so in third spot here he's going. He's getting amongst the traffic. He's starting to get all over Jimmy Tamage at the moment. 909 is Justin Gordon taking a tighter line. That's the Honda Civic, the little hatch Civic, as he goes up the hill. Here's the leader. As he's staying, he's got a fairly comfortable lead. Now there's Brendan Hall's got a couple of cars to pop. And that China, you can see that's lower. And look, he gets around those corners, that Con Barnett, I got to say. And coming down the outside, have a look at there. Here comes Brendan Hall. He was right behind this whole pack. He's taken 3 cars in 200 meters on his way down to that left hand. You can see there's 3 laps to go on that board. He need to be his board on the left hand side, and here they are working hard there. It's 106. Dick Jacobs, and then it's behind him
Andres Kruger.
Here's Andres Kruger, and they're all in there and having not much between them, I must admit. Right, here comes some of the leaders. Here's Jan Jatich. He's going very well in the Aston. Also not quite up with it as he was in the first race. A lot of traffic. It's got to hit him. Look at it. He's coming around the corner. Oh, we've got to find the pits. There's drama. It looks like Tamage's car, just looking at the wing there. He had serious trouble there. Looks like he caught a lot. And Colin Smith, he moves up to 4th. He takes over Class C, and he's got Conquest there. Steve Barnett comes through, normally wins that class in Class C. He goes into 2nd spot in his class, and he gives it a full go, I must say. And then he's got the Honda just behind him. Well, that's the remains of that. All that dust gets into engines. Terrible stuff, Neil.
More dust than fire.
Yeah, it is. And it puts it out. And there's always a danger in the pits as well. Right, we've got a lap to go in this race. Trevor Smith's going to do the double. Let's hope he doesn't go to sleep as Willie Hepburn did in the first race. He's going very well. But Brendan Hall is always thereabouts. The come past Stuart McLaren. I love that TT. That TT looks really nice. Got a Toyota engine there.
Really looks the part.
And here's the second man. That's Dirk Lawrence. He's coming through. He's lying in 6th position overall. So those Hondas are doing very well. Here comes Dirk Lawrence now. That car's been very good too, mate. Just jumped. Only 3-wheeling at Knockall through the corner.
Very reliable, and Gary Gordon just behind him.
Just behind him as well, and not letting him get away with too much either. Janitic comes through. Well, he's had a very good outing, I must say. 8th overall, he's 3rd in his class, and he's had a very good day in that little Opel. There was a problem. The Fiesta's gone sideways coming out. Easy to do that, though, Neil, coming out the last quarter. Put foot too much.
Actually, a little bit of water on the track as well.
Yeah, and the Chinas are still in there and going. And here is the Daihatsu Sirion. He's 2nd in his class, Serena's Club. And look at the Chinas still chiming along there. It's Kruger there in 7-11. 106 is Jacobs. As we say, nothing between them. They're having a great time. And on those little narrow tyres. And you're in amongst them as well, Neil, where they're hard to get past.
No, they're very aware of traffic and
they move over.
Them, yeah.
And Stuart McClarty there, always in the action. As they come down the road for the flag, Trevor Smith is going to get the double for the day. Nice piece of driving on wet roads and very good times in this race. Kenny De Beers got the flag. He comes home in 1st position. Brendan Hall, there's a good drive, just comes across the line. Stuart McClarty's in that lovely looking Audi TT. So it was Trevor Smith who won it in Class A once again. Brendan Hall, he took Class B, as you see, and then Colin Smith finished ahead of Steve Barnett. And in Class D, Renus Plump, then it was Greg Bloomer and Neil Barnett. So 2nd win for the day there, Trevor. Nice going, and the car's running like a truck.
Yeah, looks like we've done something right this week, you know.
Because some of your competitors, I mean, Jimmy Tamage had a big fire, right?
Yeah. I don't know what happened to him in the second race. Looks like it did to light his car, but But our car was perfect.
And that's all down to preparation. You put a lot of work into it, eh?
Yeah, no, we put a lot of work, especially Kunrad. He put a lot of work into it, and it's finally paid off.
So close racing in Class C, Colin Smith put it across Steve Barnard. I haven't seen that before. Then it was Dirk Lawrence and Dave Lowe. And in Class D, Renus Plomp, Greg Bloomer and Neil Barnard. Brendan Hall has always been a Honda man, but this is a new one for you.
Yeah, no, we decided to do something different. We needed to cut some weight out of the car. So to chase the Golf, we had to go for something lighter, and the CRX was the perfect choice.
And the handling, any difference with that in the Civics?
It's a total new concept. Sometimes it's like a go-kart, sometimes it's like a car. But we're learning every day, and it's getting better all the time.
And quicker and quicker.
Absolutely. We're just struggling the brakes still, but that'll come. You know, it's still only
What size motor you got in here, Brendan?
The 2-litre VTEC.
Because I must say, against some of these other cars, it's flying, eh? I mean, second on the road and winning your class, you can't ask for much more than that. Well, you can't get it much closer.